Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into the mind of Neville Goddard and his absolutely radical idea that the empire you want to build, one of success, health, or just plain happiness, has to first exist completely and totally inside your own imagination. So let's just start with this one question, because it really frames everything we're about to talk about. What if your imagination wasn't just this little escape hatch for daydreaming? What if it was the actual workshop, the place where your reality is built, piece by piece? Let's get into it. All right, so here's our roadmap. We're going to start with the empire within you, then get into the nuts and bolts with the law of assumption. After that, we'll cover a practical technique called living from the end, tackle the big question of what to do when reality resists, and finally, wrap it all up with your world to build. So first things first, the empire within you. Now, the foundational idea of everything Neville taught is this. Your consciousness, your awareness of being, is the one and only reality. Everything you see out there in the world, it's just a mirror. It's a reflection of what's already going on inside of you. And this quote right here, it flips the whole script, doesn't it? Neville's point was that just like the great empires of history, which had to be a vision in someone's mind before they became real, your personal success, your personal empire, has to be fully built and realized in your imagination first. Okay, so if everything starts in the mind, how do we actually, make it happen? How do we get it out of our heads and into our lives? Well, that brings us to the engine of this whole philosophy, the law of assumption. The law is so simple, but it is incredibly profound. It's not about wishing for something. It's not about hoping for it. It's about assuming the feeling of your wish as if it's already a done deal. You have to feel, right here, right now, what it would feel like to be the person who already has the thing you desire. And this is a really important distinction. This isn't just positive thinking. See, positive thinking often comes from a place of lack. You're hoping for something you don't have. Assumption is totally different. It's about embodying the state of fulfillment now. You're not wishing for it, you are being it in your imagination. This all sounds incredibly powerful, right? But the big question is, how do you actually do it? That's where we get into a very practical, very actionable technique for creation. Neville's go-to technique was what he called the nightly imaginal act. So right before you drift off to sleep, you create a short little movie in your mind, a scene that could only happen after your wish came true. Then you immerse yourself in it. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you touch? The whole goal is to capture the feeling of it being real, that feeling of relief or joy, and then carry that feeling with you as you fall asleep. And this isn't just theory. Neville lived this. As a young guy in New York, he was broke and desperately wanted to go home to his family in Barbados for Christmas. The facts of his reality said it was impossible. But instead of buying into those facts, he chose to live in the assumption that he was already there. So what did he do? Every single night, he imagined he was sleeping in his old childhood bed in Barbados. He would feel the warm air, hear the ocean outside his window. And what happened? The outside world literally rearranged itself to match his inner state. A letter showed up out of the blue with the money he needed. He changed his state of being first, and the physical reality had no choice but to follow. Okay, that story is amazing. But let's be real, it's not always that simple. What happens when your bank account is yelling at you, or your circumstances are just screaming the total opposite of what you're assuming? This is where the real work begins. This is about persistence. This is probably the biggest hurdle for everyone. You do your imaginal act, you feel it real, and then you wake up, and the bills are still there. Your senses are telling you, nope, didn't work. So what do you do then? Neville's advice here is crystal clear. You persist. You stay loyal to the unseen reality that you created within you, not the shadow world that's playing out in front of you. See, he taught that your current reality is just the harvest of your past thoughts and feelings. If you want a different future harvest, you have to plant new seeds now and ignore the old crop. You just keep returning to the feeling of the wish fulfilled again and again and again. And this is such a powerful way to look at it. Obstacles are not a sign that you're failing. They are the very tools, the very fire in which your character and your empire are forged. They are part of the building process, not a stop sign. So finally, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture here. Because according to Neville, this incredible power isn't just about getting a new car or a promotion. It's about something way, way bigger. The ultimate point of all this is to wake up to who you really are, a creator. By consciously choosing what to build in your inner world and then bringing it into reality, you're actually fulfilling your divine purpose. You're taking an active role in the creative process of the entire universe. So it's really important to see that this isn't a selfish act. It's an act of creation that has a ripple effect. When you imagine the absolute best for yourself and for other people, you are literally contributing to a better world, one that's shaped not by random chance, but by a loving and powerful imagination. And that really leaves us with one final big thought. If your imagination is truly the creative power of the universe, and your consciousness is the only reality, what kind of world, what kind of empire will you choose to build within yourself starting tonight? Thanks for watching The Explainer.